Hey guys, it's Chef Jules. Thank you very much for watching this week. I really hope you're going to continue to watch because next week I'm going to be doing a dessert, and who doesn't love desserts, right? So I'm very excited about that. This week we are going to be Team Waffle. Last week we were Team Pancake, so this week we're going to go to waffles. Like I said, personally love both. Just because depending on the mood you're in, pancakes are light and fluffy, and waffles can be, but they also can have that crunch, which I really like depending on the morning, and they can be a little more filling, which is great if you have a full day ahead of you, especially if you're a parent. You know, you don't really have much time to eat in the day all the time, so having something that's really filling and also nutritious is great. So last week I used regular gluten-free flour for the pancakes, which you can use coconut or almond like I talked about, but I wanted to kind of show the most realistic way of a pancake that would look the most normal with regular flour. This week I decided to use almond flour for my waffles to be able to show what it looks like, and it's actually very similar to a regular waffle or pancake, and it stays together, holds great. I use this particular brand of almond flour. However, have used many, so this one is just one of the many that work great. This bag in particular says super fine. I prefer that. There are other ones that will say coarse or just regular almond flour. If you prefer more texture or if you'd rather have more of an actual almond in it, that's completely fine. For me, I just don't really like the texture in something like waffle or pancakes, but you can use whatever one you would prefer. They all work great, and the great thing with almond flour is no carbs. There's next to none, which is what I love. If you're trying to do a lower carb diet or they just don't agree with you, almond flour or coconut flour are great options for that. So I love doing these, and you get great proteins, good in fat, and they taste great. So I use this particular kind of flour. For the milk, in this case, use lactose free, but again, if you can't have any dairy at all, almond milk, you can continue with the theme, works great, especially vanilla, because you get that flavor already in there, but coconut works well as well. Soy, whatever dairy-free alternative is your favorite will work just as well with it. I can have a little bit of dairy, so I like to use lactose free. But whatever one you prefer, you can go right ahead. And then I used baking powder. You can use baking soda as well if that's something that you have more often or you just prefer it. Both work and give that little bit of levity and don't make it as dense. So this works great. Eggs, and then sometimes, most of the time people just use maple syrup on top, but I will actually put it in the actual batter sometimes just to give that little bit of maple hint, which I love, especially if you want to do sweet or savory, because you can use it for both. So you could do fruit with the sweet, or you could do something like bacon or sausage for a little more savory. So I actually did put a tiny bit in the batter, and it tastes really good. And then a little bit of vanilla extract, which I always say is needed because the vanilla actually reacts with the soda or the baking powder and makes it a little bit more fluffy. So you definitely want to have the vanilla in there just to be able to make it rise a little bit more. One thing in particular with almond flour is it does burn a little bit quicker than regular flour because it is just ground almonds. So you want to check with either waffles or pancakes a little bit sooner than you would a regular one, just to make sure it's not getting too brown. Sometimes it looks like it's okay, but then you'll go to flip it and it's a little bit darker or it's sticking. So just check it a little sooner than you think you would if you see the bubbles or a little bit of steam. Then just lift the waffle maker open or flip the pancake just to make sure. Some people have the round one or square. I have the round one. Both work just as well. You can use whatever one you'd like, and then just make sure you grease it with oil or with butter, whatever you prefer, dairy-free butter as well. If not, then the almond flour will definitely stick. So try to remember to grease it just because it isn't as easy to get them out afterwards. And then just because I love chocolate, which I talked about last week, I actually used chocolate chips to melt over the top just because with waffles, I love to be able to do that if I want a little bit sweeter. Hershey's is probably one of my favorite brands for chocolates just because it melts really great and tastes good. Dark chocolate is my favorite. If you prefer white or milk, you can definitely get whatever kind. Or there's also plant-based chocolate chips as well that you can get with no dairy, and then they just melt just as well. So these are all the ingredients I used for the recipe. To get the full recipe, you can subscribe or like my channel, and then I'm going to be able to send it to you. But these are all the ingredients that I used. And then this was the final outcome. So this is what it looks like. I drizzled the chocolate, which is always really, really good. And then I did a strawberry just because that's one of my favorite berries, but whatever you prefer works just as great. Or like I said, if you wanted to go a little more savory, then you could use whatever you would like. Also, making a spicy maple syrup is really good. So I'm going to be doing that in future videos, but this is the outcome. So it looks pretty similar to a regular waffle. I wouldn't be able to look at that and think that it was almond flour. So really, really great use of it for breakfast, and there's many other great uses. So I'm looking forward to being able to tell you more. I hope you try the recipe. I hope you love it. Comment whatever you like. If there's any questions, tips, anything that you want to suggest, let me know. And I cannot wait to hear what you think. And let me know again if you're team pancake, team waffle. I am both. So I hope you guys have a great week, and catch next week for almond flour chocolate chip cookies, which I'm very excited about. Have a good week, guys. Bye.